Russia is revising its nuclear doctrine to reflect current geopolitical realities. This doctrine outlines when and how Russia might use nuclear weapons. The current doctrine permits nuclear use in response to a nuclear attack, or if a conventional attack poses an existential threat to Russia. Escalating tensions with the West, especially due to the Ukraine conflict, have prompted discussions about revising the doctrine. President Vladimir Putin expressed concerns about new elements being developed by potential adversaries. These elements could potentially lower the threshold for nuclear weapon use. There are discussions within expert circles in the West regarding the development of extremely low-power explosive nuclear devices. Russia accused Ukraine of drone and missile attacks in occupied Crimea and the Belgorod region. These attacks resulted in casualties. Russia directly blamed the U.S. for these attacks, warning that using American-made weapons within Russian territory would have consequences. Russia's recent military alliance pact with North Korea has raised concerns among Western allies. North Korea is also considered an international pariah. In particular, explosive nuclear devices of extremely low power are being developed, and we know that there are ideas floating around in expert circles in the West that such means of destruction could be used, he claimed. Relations appear to have deteriorated further in recent weeks after the U.S. agreed to allow Ukraine to use American-made weapons to strike inside Russian territory under certain circumstances. Earlier on Monday, Russia summoned the U.S. ambassador over what it said were Ukrainian drone and missile attacks that killed at least 6 people in occupied Crimea and the Russian region of Belgorod. It said it directly blamed the U.S. for the attack and has warned the use of American-made weapons inside Russian territory will incur consequences. Last week, Russia caused alarm among Western allies when it agreed a military alliance pact with North Korea. A revised doctrine may impact how Russia perceives and responds to potential threats. It reinforces the concept of nuclear deterrence, signaling that any aggression against Russia could trigger a nuclear response. The update might clarify scenarios in which Russia would consider using nuclear weapons, potentially affecting crisis management and conflict escalation dynamics. Neighboring countries and global powers closely monitor Russia's nuclear posture. Any perceived shift in doctrine could raise concerns about regional stability and security. Allies and adversaries alike assess the implications for their own defense strategies and responses. Changes to the doctrine may impact existing arms control agreements. Russia's willingness to use nuclear weapons could affect negotiations and compliance. Strategic stability, ensuring a balance of power, depends on predictable behavior. An updated doctrine could introduce uncertainty. A lower threshold for nuclear use due to new elements could increase the risk of accidental or inadvertent escalation. Adversaries may reevaluate their own nuclear policies in response, potentially leading to an arms race. The update affects Russia's credibility and reputation. Allies and opponents assess whether Russia's actions align with its stated doctrine. Diplomatic efforts to prevent conflict may be impacted as adversaries gauge Russia's commitment to avoiding nuclear war. The Russian public's perception of nuclear weapons and their role in national security matters. Public opinion can influence policy decisions. Politicians and military leaders may debate the doctrine's implications, affecting Russia's overall strategic direction.